I was reading a statement by Henry Blackaby, Experiencing God, Knowing and Doing the Will of God. The statement, right now, God is working in you and all around you. And it was as if my spiritual antenna suddenly went off, and I felt like the Lord was really getting my attention in that moment with His Spirit. And as I had that awareness, the thought came to me, can only describe it that way, call Cindy Harrison and ESL.
We knew one another, and Harry had, as the Lord was speaking to him, I was praying and asking the Lord the very day and the very moment that He called. I was in prayer, and I was asking the Lord to give me the encouragement to call Harry and hope that he didn't think that I was crazy when I was going to talk to him about this entity that I really knew that God wanted to begin in supporting the churches in literacy. Harry called me on the phone, and that was one of the most wonderful phone calls I've ever had, because you knew, as he started to talk, that it was the Lord that had connected us. The Lord had seen the need for ESL classes, citizenship, ESL, adult literacy and tutoring children and youth classes, and He had called servants to meet that need.
I saw how we could meet needs on every level of their lives as we taught them English as a second language.
Don't change it and put your name on it.
Every ministry starts with God's love. God sees a need, God raises up people to pray for the need, and then God raises up people to meet the need.
We incorporated hope on the acrostic, helping other people excel. The word excel comes from the Latin excellere, and it means to rise or to be lifted up. And that is what we're trying to help people do, is to come in with their circumstances, with a hope that they have to have a new life, and that we can be instruments in the Lord's hand to help them establish a new life here, to be productive citizens, to be positive neighbors, to be people who even can meet Jesus Christ and hear the gospel as we teach them English. That is the vision of hope.
God called Harry, and He called Harry to call me to share the vision of hope, and Harry accepted that vision, and we've done the best that we could to be faithful to God's calling in that. And then on the back, I want you to put your last name. Mainly, when we're setting up a training with a church, they really want to prepare these teachers who have never had any training whatsoever. So we come at it from a basic standpoint, teaching them hands-on how to teach an ESL class or how to teach a citizenship class. We take them through the manuals, but it's very much an interactive workshop. You ready? Go. We want them to understand what does a class really look like, and they are able to take part in what we call a sensitivity exercise, and that's the way that they find out what it feels like even to be a beginner ESL student. They have to learn Japanese is what, the language. We've created a ESL, we created a Japanese as a second language exercise, and they go through that and they really get a feel for what it feels like to be a beginner student. So you're trying to pull things out of that advanced class that you're teaching. In our Hope Literacy workshops, no matter who's doing them, we focus on it is a ministry. That these teachers are literacy missionaries. They are called by God to share the love of Christ through their teaching. One of the things that we encourage each of them to do is to start their class with a Bible verse. Some of them start their classes with songs or devotions that have students that are further along in their language skills. But they all start their class with a Bible verse. And I think that above all things has meant the most to me as a trainer when I hear feedback from teachers saying, you know, we've had a class on clothing and the Lord just gave me the perfect verse for that, and it meant so much to my students to know that God was going to provide for their needs. You know, the education aspect is important, but keeping the Lord's Word as the main thing.
What is so special about that best friend? That best friend understands you.
One of the missions of the church is to be the hands and the feet and the ears and the voice of our Lord. And when you go to another country and you cannot speak or you do not understand what people are trying to tell you, it's very difficult. I know, for I have been in several places around the world that are unfamiliar. And I know I appreciate it so much, those who came to me and tried to help me understand. In any situation where there's learning to occur, you have to have motivation, you have to have understanding, and you have to have caring. As you're showing caring, as you talk about what makes life important, you're expressing to them also that there is a God who loves them very much. I think music brings joy to your life, and you can learn a lot of words, you can learn a lot of truths as you sing. And we do calisthenics to music, and they don't know that's what it is, but that's what we're doing. One of the things I think that's been a joy to watch is how the teachers have reached out to the students, and there's a bond between them. If there is one there, remember that one sheep that was lost, brought joy when he was found. So if there's only one person here and they need it, I'll be glad to do that.
The need has changed since I first felt called to do ESL in an astronomical way. Actually, in 1990, in Tarrant County, there were about 79,000 residents who could speak no English or very poor English. From 1990 till 2005, that number increased to 240,000. In Tarrant County, the numbers are big, but Dallas County, the numbers are even bigger. In 1990, there were 196,000 residents who could speak English poorly or not at all. But by 2005, just 15 years later, there were 463,000 people who had come in to Dallas County. Those numbers have not slowed down in the last 5 years. These are adults, whole family units who are affected by their level of literacy and whose future will also be affected by their levels of literacy. It is projected, studies say, that 65% of children who are raised to illiterate parents will also become illiterate.
I go to my country Sunday, and I be a teacher for my grandchildren in Albania.
We actually just pray that God will be present, whether anybody learns English or not, that they will just sense God's presence and God's love expressed through us. It's phenomenal to me how much He really answers prayer, and you can see that in the way that the ministry works in every way, with the students, with the volunteers, and everything else. One night, whenever we were over at the community center, before we moved here, in one night we had 72 people show up. One of our students, when she was walking out, she said, when I first saw how crowded this was, I didn't know if I would want to be part of this. And she said, but then I found God's presence here, and so I know I wanted to come back. And that to me was, wow, that's what we're here for. We had one student from Albania. Her son actually speaks very good English, actually a member of our church. Well, she was not a Christian, and she had come to visit. And so during the time when she was visiting, she came and went to our program. Whenever she would come back, she would come see us, and then she came to live here. Her daughter-in-law came to me one time and said she was really excited that he had accepted Christ. She has since come back, moved to the United States, and has, as of last year, became a citizen. She went to our citizenship class after she had been in all of our English classes. Every semester, We usually have a potluck at least once, and then just everybody gets to bring their food. We've even had baby showers for some of our students. All the students surprised us, and all the students showed up with presents, and we didn't think they were going to. We thought it was just going to be the teachers, but we just wanted them to participate. That woman's husband came the very last night, and he said, no one in America has ever shown us that much love that you guys have shown us. It really meant something to the people, not even the students, but the people outside of our classes even.
What was another one that she had on her list?
Hope has always been something that I've always leaned on for counsel, for just resources, for great ideas, and such great opportunities for teaching our teachers. You know, our teachers always come back excited, especially after Cindy Harrison teaching. It's a great opportunity and a great resource for us.
I think that we have the responsibility as a pastor to investigate how we can serve our community better.
Keep working, and we'll go ahead and start reviewing our words from last week.
And then as a person, we can spend time with the kids and the people around you, and also there's a benefit for yourself because you feel comfortable moving around the neighborhood. So it works both ways. Yes, it is a responsibility as a pastor. And most of the time, to build a relationship, you have to do something. And one of the parts has to take the first step. And I think us as Christians, we should take the first step. Me being here, even in their part, they can feel comfortable. Also, one comment that the kids did to my wife another day, because we missed one day. They say, oh, we miss when you guys don't come. We can enjoy playing games with you guys and singing, and it's been a privilege. And but I noticed that some of the adults also, you know, they open up to us. And a couple of guys that already promised me they're going to be going to our church. So it's been really a challenge because the time you have to be running back and forth, but also a privilege to be able to help.
The fact is that in Texas, we have the second highest population of non-English speakers in the United States, but our state funding for helping them learn English is 47th in the United States. Hope steps into that void, and we become an instrument that is very much needed for those who cannot get into an ISD or a state-sponsored school. Hope, with its volunteers, can go to them and help them and lift them up. I would love to see our students excelling in their workplace, their jobs, excelling in their family life. And I would desire to see them know Jesus. I would desire to have their teachers freely express to them a love and a hope in Christ, and a life that can have that power of God working in it.